All right, everyone, welcome to the Freddie and Alyssa show. I don't know why I'm hearing this like it's really in my ears right now.
Is it?
Yeah. Maybe my voice is just because I've rested it for 3 or 4 days and we haven't pod.
I've missed the pod.
I have
But
too.
we're back.
We are back. We're just trying to figure out just just treading through all this of
And
and
flow of life with
the
this cray stuff happening.
yeah.
You know?
So it's like a combination of being informative and thoughtful, but also not losing
Your mind?
losing my no, but I'm saying for the show, just the overall tone.
Yes.
People
yes.
like to come here for being inspired and entertained.
Of course.
But during these times, it's also if you completely ignore it, it just doesn't. It seems
do
like
that.
what planet are you on? So we were so
Rainbows and sunshine.
yeah, but it's good to have a little bit of both. Maybe
Yeah.
be aware and educated, but also have a little fun because you have to be positive.
Exactly.
But we appreciate you stopping by for another episode of the Freddie and Alyssa show. If you're new to the channel, or if you're not new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Turn on that notification bell, so this way it'll pop up in your phone when we've put up a new episode or a new clip, and you can stay up to date. Liking and commenting goes a long way. Comment down below. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Ask us questions. We're going to do something new, we decided. At the end of this episode, we have chosen a question from the audience, and we're going to answer it. So if you want to leave a question in the comment section, you could be picked and be featured on the podcast in the next episode. We'll answer your question to all of the fans and audience out there. So we'd really appreciate it. But let's hop into the episode. Do you want to? I'm going to kick it to you for the sponsor today, because even though I knocked it out of the park last time, let me kick it to you.
I'll take this one.
You take this one.
Yeah, guys, so today's episode is brought to you by Pandia Health. Skip the trip to the pharmacy each month for your birth control. And honestly, during a time like right now, what a perfect service to come to your house. You don't have to worry about missing out on your birth control. You don't have to worry about running out into this crazy world. Pandia Health, they come right to you, and they also deliver it with a couple little chocolates, a little high chew, a little tea, so you get some goodies on the side. But if you do not have an active prescription, you can utilize their network of doctors for $29 a year. So that's really incredible. If you don't have your birth control prescription right now, utilize their network. And if you guys use Alyssa and Freddie at checkout, you'll receive $5 off your doctor consult. So head to pandiahealth.com. Again, Alyssa and Freddie for $5 off. And thank you so much, Pandia, for being just such a good friend to the podcast and supporting. We appreciate you guys so much, your service. And we just really adore and appreciate you guys. So thank you so much.
Pandia Health for the win.
For the win.
So, got a bunch to talk about today.
Let's start with you.
This is going to be a great episode.
No,
yes!
I never say that.
I can start with me. It was my birthday week.
It was.
Yeah, we did nothing, which our friend Savannah made fun of us, saying so nothing would have changed, even if there was no, thing going on out there.
Yeah.
But you were very sweet. You got me some gifts and a beautiful card, and I talked to my family,
You did.
and that was really nice. I got a little exercise in. We've been walking around, we walk across we end up going like to the other side of the sidewalk anytime someone's around. But we're getting some sun, getting some exercise, and I was talking on the phone, so that was really nice catching up with everyone. You got me a really delicious cake that we have devoured over the past 4 days, so that's going to be good for the waistline. And we just kind of hung out.
Yeah,
it was really
finally
nice.
watched some George Carlin that you've been wanting to watch for a while.
Yeah.
I love him. One of your favorite comedians.
That was good, yeah.
Really
So
enjoyed that.
it was just really nice. I think hearing from all of you as well, just the messages on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and I definitely felt the love. So I thank you all so much for the birthday wishes, and so it was just kind of nice, just chilling and appreciating and reflecting on the year, and hitting 32 now. I'm really feeling like I'm in a groove.
Any different?
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, it's a really good thing. So that was all. Nothing to report, but just that it was my B-Day and we did have fun, and I just wanted to thank everybody for their love and support. So that was really good. And then as we dive into to the Rona here, the only thing that's interesting to me is that as we're walking, I still feel like people are, and people can do what they want. The government's obviously not making it a law, but there's a lot of stuff going on, like with Runyon Canyon. It's one of the most like popular places to go work out, and
to go hike in LA, and it was filled with hundreds of people the other day. It was trending on Twitter, and everyone's like, "Stay home." Because right now is the most problematic time because symptoms are not arising yet in everyone. But then you see certain celebrities like Colton Underwood from The Bachelor, Andy Cohen, the Bravo guy, like they tested positive, Not saying that they were out and about, but I'm just saying it can happen to anyone. You got to be aware. You're not going to have symptoms. I think it's between 4 to 12 days or 14 days
of incubation, and I think it's helpful because I even saw a friend post about no matter whether you're a celebrity, a stay-at-home mom, a teacher, a nurse, hearing your story is educating all of us.
Yeah.
Because this way we don't have to rely on hearing it from the media or the government. We can also get real life examples of some people seem like, look, I have it, but I'm kind of like okay.
Yeah.
Other people are like, I have it, but I need to be in the hospital. And I think the more stories that we share, let's hear people's stories through social media so that we can all educate ourselves and kind of have each other's back. But yeah, when we're out, I don't know. I just want to stay away. I don't want to cause anything.
Same.
It's been, I just don't want to get anyone sick, and I don't want to get sick. I don't want to feel like crap.
Be incredibly cautious when you're out there. Like, I'm not kidding. Even when I walk Benji, if I see someone coming, I run to the other side.
Yeah, you do it like in a rude way.
Listen.
The other day, those two young girls were walking by, and I was like, I'm not going to walk around the mulch. You walked around the mulch. Like, it was so rude. And I just held my breath and kind of smiled and turned my head and tried to be polite.
Well, I still, waved. I'm sorry. I take this very seriously.
I know. No, and you should. And everyone should.
I'm out of control, though.
Yeah.
Right.
But some positive news is they have officially moved the deadline. And for some people, this will matter. I was very happy about this. They moved the deadline for taxes to July 15th, which is just nice because, especially if you're someone like me who's, has a business, I don't have taxes taken out. So taxes I owe at that time. They're not taken out throughout the year. And so to give me an extra 3 months to kind of see what the world does before writing a fat check is actually really cool. So I know it's going to help a lot of people out. I don't know if it's going to affect the returns because people are waiting for money as well, but it is moved to July 15th. And I think the extension can still go to October as well. You have to talk to your accountants about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's up in the air that we're waiting to hear is when are there more tests going to be? Because that's the biggest problem is that there's not enough tests.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the stimulus check.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested to see how much people are going to get. I think there's a bill floating around that there's some figures, but yet again, I didn't do enough deep dive to see is it the real thing? What are people, looking to get? And how much is it going to help? Because, if everyone got $1,000 for 2 months, I think most Americans... what do you think the average overhead is in America for people?
Depends where you're at,
But if you think of a family, like even you and I, if we lived modestly in a cheaper city or in the Midwest where it's not LA, I think our bills would still be around $3,500 to $4,000. Out here it's a little more. The average family who's got a couple kids and like a mortgage and all that, they have to be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Maybe not the average, maybe like $3,000 to $5,000. But the stimulus check, I don't think is going to alleviate everything. It's going to help with food. It's going to help in that sense.
Well, they want you to have your essentials.
Yeah.
Which is number one.
But people are also losing just so much.
It's just...
And then it brings up who we've been championing for over a year. But this is interesting too, is that Andrew Yang was running for president. And one of his flagship proposals was the freedom dividend, where every American over 18 received $1,000 a month. And that's what everyone's bringing up. Oh, the Andrew Yang thing, the stimulus thing. But Andrew Yang wanted to give the $1,000 a month when the economy was booming, and it wasn't to replace people's income. It was just to give people a little extra boost to help them not be so stressed, to help them be able to make changes, to help them move, to help pay for college or healthcare, whatever you needed. And it would stimulate the economy. I always thought of Ashtabula, where I grew up. If 20,000 people were pumped with $1,000 a month, what that would do for the economy, how many people would open up car dealerships or hair salons or go out to eat in restaurants. Like, I came from a town that would directly in Ohio be so positively impacted by a freedom dividend. But it wasn't enough money to quit your job. It was just enough to, but you don't want people to quit your job. If he gave everyone $10,000 a month, everyone would quit and the economy would come to a halt.
Right.
But $1,000 a month I thought was super fair, and now people are talking about that. But if they're giving people $1,000 a month now, it's not going to be a true evaluation of if it worked because people's income are gone. Yeah. So it's kind. I mean, I'm glad they're giving some. You know, we have to read the thing and see if we even qualify or if everyone qualifies or what the qualifications are.
Yeah.
But that's going to be interesting. So everyone can pay attention and look forward to a stimulus. You might be getting a little cash money. And for anyone who's struggling too, my heart just goes out to you because everyone's just in a different situation. I think 50% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of stories coming out. And you just know, we're thinking of you, and, we're all trying to figure everything out of what to do. So hopefully the stimulus package and the extension and some of these paid leave programs and some of these huge companies are paying their employees. So I'm really interested to hear people's stories, and I hope that everyone can come together and help people out in need. And so we'll keep you up to date on all of that. But to look at in a positive way, tax dates moved a little, give you a little extra time, and the stimulus package seems to be coming.
Yes, and I think too during this time, kindness above all always wins. I actually read this story about this gentleman was at the grocery store, and this older woman was in front of him about to check out. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I forgot bread." And he looked at her and he's like, "Oh, here, ma'am, I have bread." And he goes, "And if there's anything else you want from my cart, please take it." Because he was a younger gentleman, and he was like, just be kind, just help others, especially the ones who are most vulnerable during this time. So just be kind. It goes so long, It goes so far.
It goes so far. It goes far and long. But I think pandemics like this, or it's the same thing when people get a lot of money. Is that a tragedy or an influx of cash? It just exposes people's personalities.
Yes.
People who are kind are going to be more kind.
Yes.
People who are mean with more money or or selfish, they're going to be more selfish during bad times, and they're going to be more selfish. Like, people are who they are. Just pretty much it heightens in extreme situations. Sure. And I think fortunately there are more really kind, giving people than not. So that'll be really good. There's also a little. There's just also a lot of talk of we don't know how to handle all this. Yeah. And even some celebs are coming out and talking. And I remember Vanessa Hudgens put her foot in her mouth. But yet again, it just shows that it's not her fault. It's just shedding light on. Think about, and for anyone who hasn't seen it, she basically was just.
She did an Instagram live and had some very insensitive comments.
Yeah, I'm going to paraphrase it. It was basically just the vibe of like, everyone's going to get it. If we're all like, people are going to die, it's inevitable. And it was just kind of like, ooh. Yeah, just like, and then she apologized and goes, people took it out of context. And it's like, no. And then,
that's what you said.
So she got some backlash from that. And,
oh my God. And Gal Gadot did that Imagine video.
Yes. But though I don't like that,
These are very different situations.
It's very different, but when people like Vanessa come out and she is in the public eye and people attack, it's a good learning lesson for all of us to watch and go, oh, wow, look how the mass population didn't care for that, and we can learn from that. Same thing from her. Now, if she didn't do it, she wouldn't have grown in that aspect. Very true. So I know people are like, oh, you're so terrible. It's like, it was stupid, but now she's learned. Yeah. And we got to just allow people, like, you know what I mean? Like,
everything in life, no one's perfect. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah, and then we all learn from it. And some her being publicly embarrassed is probably going to, help her grow a little bit. And we grew by listening and seeing, go, oh, yeah. But we did some research. What were you saying about the Gal Gadot one?
So Gal Gadot got a couple of her celeb BFFs together. And I think the sentiment behind it was very kind. They were trying to do this music video where everyone sang one lyric from Imagine, John Lennon. And the video, I mean, we watched it, and I don't know. She got so much backlash is the whole point. Like, everyone's like, how dare you guys and your champagne problems, and you have no idea. Like, I just lost my 2 jobs. I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. Like, you guys should be donating. Like, just all this stuff. But what did you think of all of that and the backlash?
Well, at first I was just thrown off because I really had to pay attention to what the song's about, and that's what made it worse.
I love that you didn't even know this song.
Well, because you like sing along and you know it, but when you really focus on like what's the song, because it's so all these celebrities, but the backlash was that they're saying that we should all be in this together and that there should be, we should all be one, and they're doing these songs. They're all these multimillionaires, and some of them are inside their bathroom, which is bigger than like everyone's apartment. And it was saying like we're all equal, like we're gonna get through this. Or what's the lyrics about? Like there's no boundaries, and if we could all just be together, and there was no greed, and be is one. So the song in general is beautiful.
Well, because after we watched their little their compilation of everything, I played you that other Imagine
and
cover,
it actually makes you cry. It hits your heart. Yeah.
And when I watched theirs, I didn't.
But they did it from their house. It was hard it couldn't be produced. So the sentiment, I think, that was the whole thing. The whole entire sentiment of it was beautiful. They're trying to say, hey, look, we're all together. Let's use our following to tell everyone, like, let's all be together.
Yeah.
But yet again, of why we've been super careful about, you have to have the finesse and tonality to understand what people are going through from a spectrum. It's not as easy as being like we're all just rich celebrities in our mansions and we actually have a yard where there are no people. We can go work out. We can go do all this stuff.
Right.
And you have to think about people who literally just lost their job, who's been in debt. Like, what are they going to do? So it's hard hearing advice from someone in a mansion with no financial stress whatsoever going, hey, we can all be one. What if there was a world with no greed? And it's kind of like... So it was a mixed review. Yeah, definitely mixed reviews on it.
Plus her for trying,
more bad than good, but
yeah,
we just don't know how to handle the situation. So everyone's trying.
That's the craziest part.
But you gotta kind of like I'm just dipping my toe in. I'm like, how can I be a bright light in people's life when they need it, and how can I? But
also not ignore the situation completely. It's a very
just be thoughtful. Take your time. But we've also been in situations where we've kind of learned because we've always jumped to we've been very, very thoughtful the past year and a half of having ideas, having conversations, but taking our time, letting a few days, let things take their course so you can make the best decision. And if you make a mistake, you can always, apologize. And I don't know if I'm sure they sent out an apology. I didn't dig that deep into it, but the lesson from it is, yet again, we're all trying to help, but we just got to continue to do research. And also at the same time, don't consume yourself too much where you start going nuts.
I was just going to say that I think people were so critical because everyone's on their phones nonstop. But for me, it's actually opposite. I woke up this morning and it said that my screen time was down 90% since last week. Because I only go on social media, especially during all of this, to see what's going on, check in with everyone, but I can't get consumed in all of this horrible stuff, because then I start getting anxious and I'm like, I can't breathe,
you know the worst part of the Rona?
What's that?
Is the shortness of breath. That's anxiety can create
anxiety
that.
Suffers.
So you're like, oh my God. If you hear a lot of it, I don't know. I wish I could help give advice and because you're anxious. But yeah, it's just like check in every day.
Yes.
And get the education that you need, but then also just like get off and do what makes you happy. You got to take care of your mental health in these new scenarios. So, if being on Instagram for 12 hours doesn't help you, then don't do it. Exactly. So we're going to, but before we wrap up today, I want to do a question from Harold P. Okay. And he asked, what have we been watching, or what are some recommendations? Do you want to kick it off? What do you...
It's crazy because I feel like I actually haven't watched that much. And from what I have, you prefer like really beautiful, great pieces of film, I feel. Like, you watch a lot more of that.
Or trash TV.
You do love trash TV, too.
I'm not biased at all. I'll watch anything
Trash
that
TV
entertains me.
is my jam because it's my escape, you know? I love getting into that world. And my two favorites I've been watching, and you watched one with me. We watched Jersey Shore because we had the whole
Caught up on the
season.
new season, yeah.
It was so great. And also Love After Lockup. Oh my God. I know I talk about it, but it's so good. If you would have watched it with me, you would have been so into it. It's so good.
I probably would have, but I'm,
You were busy watching your podcast or Joe
Rogan and all my peeps.
What about you, though? Because you've...
Well, here's two we watched together that people I would recommend if you're looking for something, because that was the thing with like Jersey Shore or Vanderpump or these reality shows.
Vanderpump too.
But if you haven't watched it, it's kind of hard maybe to start. But these are like
it's not. Give it one episode
and you're in. But if you want a good reality show on Netflix, Love is Blind. I know you've probably heard about it. If you haven't sat down and watched it, give it an episode. At first, you're like, okay. It is worth the watch. It's an interesting experiment, and it'll make you think about it. Like, I'm still thinking about it a month later. We watched it when it first came out, but I would watch Love is Blind if you're looking for an actual film, if you're a film buff. Mm-hmm. Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Oh, that was great.
Phenomenal.
I did watch that.
Phenomenal.
That was amazing.
It is nonstop, heart-pumping, just absolutely a brilliant film. On the same kind of vibe, Richard Jewell, which you missed, you should watch if we're watching things separately. Richard Jewell, Clint Eastwood directed it. Phenomenal film. It was about a security guard who was falsely accused of planting a bomb. Oh. And it was like based on a true story. And then I'll just name just a couple more. I'm not going to give a description of all of them, but Just Mercy, I would recommend. 1917, I'd recommend. Jumanji 2, I'd recommend, and Jumanji 1.
I fell asleep during that.
If you do want something to fall asleep to, that's like the most easiest, mindless, but also cool watch, is on Netflix called 100 Humans, where they did all these experiments with 100 humans, and it's very, very interesting, and there's about 8 episodes. But before bed, maybe watch a couple eps. It's just easy to consume. Yeah. It's interesting, but also you can like go to bed and look forward to it every night. And then the two that I really want to share that I just watched, so I'm most passionate about, is Self-Made, Octavia Spencer, Madam C.J. Walker, her story in 1910, starting a hair product line. Yeah. So good.
I know, and I only came in at the end.
Good.
And I was like, wait, I did a report on her in 4th grade.
So good.
From what I saw, the last, episode and a half, it was excellent.
Yeah. I think she was the first African-American woman to become a self-made millionaire in this country.
That's so amazing.
And then lastly, drop everything.
Drop it all. Tell me.
Tiger King. We watched this last night. It is the most bizarre documentary series that it's probably some of the best television I have ever seen, because it's not every episode, it just gets more and more crazy and twisted. It's just about all these people who have zoos with exotic animals, and it follows this one guy. They call him the Tiger King. He's Joe Exotic. Yeah. I don't even want to spoil anything. I promise you, it is the most insane watch you'll ever see. Yeah. It's insane. And that's on Netflix.
And it's one of those things, too, when you put it on, it kind of turns into something completely different. Like, when I first sat down, because I think you were a little ahead of me in it, maybe you watched, an episode or two, and I was like, oh, this seems cool, and then it just took this crazy turn every episode. I'm like, what am I watching?
It's insane. Yeah, I highly recommend it. So there's some stuff for you, Harold, and everybody else who's looking for stuff that we've kind of checked out.
Let us know too if there's anything you're watching. We're always open for books.
Absolutely.
We've got the time.
We do, and we're innovating. We're really thinking of what we're going to do here with the podcast, because this is something we want to go all in on. Yes. It's become the top priority. Yeah. It's kind of the perfect thing for us right now to feel productive and to connect with all of you and to give you entertainment, education, inspiration. And I think we're going to incorporate and we're going to try a couple of interviews through Zoom
Yes.
So we'll bring people in through Skype or Zoom, and so we're gonna figure out how to do that so that the quality is really good. I think we're gonna rearrange the room a little, which I'll explain why.
Rearrange this dang room
because we have to, and
but I like it.
And this way we can bring in some guests, maybe some experts, and we'll check all that out. So stay tuned for all of that, and comment below. Let us know if you have any questions, and we're going to pick a person each episode, and we'll answer your question. And we appreciate you stopping by. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.